What is going on today, guys? Today is June the 13th, Monday, and what an absolute landslide it was to start out the week today. Um, Inflation, basically everything that has been being discussed out in my videos, and as most of you guys know in the markets, inflation. We have so much unrest. It's just everything is all over the place right now. In terms of volatility, these are some of the most volatile times I've seen since March 2020 when the COVID situation happened and we saw massive downturns. Okay, now is not as significant as then, obviously, but it's just all over the place. So Nasdaq finished down about 4% on the day, rallying back a tad in after hours. S&P Dow, I think, both down about 3% and are up in after hours. But guys, this is really nothing significant in terms of how much we were down on the day. Um, Heading into tomorrow, there we have a Fed meeting. We're gonna get an update on the current inflation status, and depending on what happens, guys, that'll dictate obviously which way the market's going to go and which way people are gonna put their money towards, ups or downs, obviously. So, as you guys can see, looking at oil, still up over 120. Not too shabby. Yesterday, I was looking at oil futures on Sunday, and it dropped to like 115. I was thinking maybe the rug was going to be pulled, but that wouldn't make any sense because the commodity is so expensive. You got gas north of $6, $7 here in Southern California and beyond. It's absolute a travesty. And like I've talked about, guys, with Bitcoin, there really is no solid bottom. I talked about, and I also liquidated my crypto before this rug pull happened. Thank you, Jesus. We're gonna take those gains and we're gonna pocket those in the bank account. Um, Not gonna have to worry about that. But yeah, guys, if you're long and strong, I wouldn't necessarily be concerned. I would just continue to buy more of whatever you believe in. But what a significant downturn this is, down to the 22,000 level, which is what a lot of analysts were talking about. That is the floor. This is the price that they wanted to see, and that whales have their limit order set at this area. But guys, who the f knows what's going to happen with Bitcoin? Whales dictate the price action. They can take it down to 20, then to 15, then to 10, but only time will tell. And it has a mind of its own, and these whales will do whatever they want to do, and it'll operate based upon that, in my honest opinion. So is it a buy now, like crypto holdings and stuff like that? I don't know, guys. I really don't. If you feel confident that this is some type of bottom, that there's some support that's going to be upheld within the next few days and the next few weeks, then might as well just dip your feet in the water. But in terms of my outlook on it, I cashed out all my crypto, and I'm not going to be worried about that for a while. I'm going to focus mainly on just standard stock exchange, and that's pretty much it. So. Um, Anyways, moving on over, guys. Natural gas still holding up decent. As you guys know, if you've been following cold, there was that reverse split from, I believe it was about $5. So essentially, you got one share for every four shares you have, and then that took it to about $20 to $21 range. So it's basically floating around that same range it was pre-split. And when that rug pulls on natural gas, when there really isn't any supply concerns, which Boyle will plummet. Boyle, number one, will plummet, and cold will go soaring to 40, 60, 80. It's just a matter of time once the unrest in supply is satisfied. It's primarily due to that Russian tension, guys. They're the massive exporter, and then with OPEC talking about the sanctions that they're putting on Russia for how much they're able to export, and they have to get this make up the amount from other sources. It puts a lot of strain on that supply, which when you have demand almost at its peak, which is right now, transportation costs are absolutely extraordinary right now. So something eventually has got to give, guys, because this is not sustainable. Commodity prices have to come down, food prices and all that good stuff. So, heading into tomorrow, we have that Fed meeting, and I really do think that we are going to get some good news. And I'm bullish heading into tomorrow. As surprising as that sounds, guys, I am bullish heading into tomorrow, and I will explain further why I feel that way. It's just as simple as expect the unexpected, and I mean, it's more so understanding that the Fed, they're very wishy washy. They'll come out and it's just a big charade in my opinion. But in my opinion, I think there's gonna be good news regarding the overall inflation rates right now and what they're gonna be doing to combat that. So only time will tell, and we'll see what happens tomorrow regarding that. And without further ado, let's get on into it. If you don't already follow me on StockTwits, feel free to go follow me there, guys. I try to post for you guys as often as possible. Today was pretty mellow. I'm going to break down my call or my plays that I'm in right now, and let's get into it, guys. Taking a look at the SPY, this is a key level that I was talking about with you guys. If you've been watching my videos, to my fellow subscribers and to anyone that's new watching, I have been talking about the SPY. If it breaks that mental level at 380, we could have some trouble. So honestly, obviously, like I'm definitely contradicting what I was projecting, right? Like if we break that 380 level, the floor can open up, and who knows what's going to happen. But honestly, guys, I feel like it's a risk I'm willing to take heading into the meeting tomorrow. I do have SPY calls for $410 SPY calls expiring next month, and I'm okay with the price that I'm in on that particular call. They got absolutely ravaged today to the downside, and I think it's a good opportunity. But obviously, if the market begins to tank or continues to tank, I'm gonna be down big on those options. But it's I still have buying power on hand, able to scale more into that position. But overall, guys, I still am. I do have bullish sentiment heading into tomorrow. Um, I do believe there's going to be good news in the update. It's all a matter of opinion and how you feel about it. As you guys can see, it did close at 375. Right now, we're at 376 in after hours, and I do see a battle back to the upside. I really do. Now, if we continue back to that downside, I mean, it's kind of hard to predict, obviously, guys. But I don't see this heading any further down. Maybe to the low 370s, high 360s is possible tomorrow. I mean, the market is very unpredictable, but I do see a lot of buying pressure coming into the upside heading into tomorrow. So my sentiment on the market is remaining bullish, and I'm just gonna remain at that, and obviously see what unfolds tomorrow. And yeah, that's all I got for the SPY. Moving on over to the UVXY. This is one that I've been talking about, guys. This is one that I've been going absolutely bananas about. And I mean, guys, I was alerting this when it was in the 14s, the 13s, the 12s. I was thinking in my head, this is a great level to start accumulating. And look, guys, it paid off. You got bad news in the market, and look what happens. I mean, what a significant move to the upside. The high of the day, I believe, was in like the 18s, low 18s, and now down to 1760 in after hours. So if you're in this play and we get bad news tomorrow regarding the inflation, how they're going to combat inflation, this has more than enough potential to head to $20. It's heavily manipulated. There's a lot of volatility here. I will say it's a dangerous ETF, but if you're getting in and there is obviously bearish sentiment in the market, you're going to make money regardless of anything. if there's any type of sell-off or anything like that, this could easily head back to that $20 range. Or, what I'm projecting is we get a rally back tomorrow. This will probably settle down in the low 15s, maybe even under 14. That's my projection heading into tomorrow. And if you guys got that call that I on my stock twits, I really hope you guys are making money because this was a killer alert in that $12, $13 range. Bam, up to $17. That's a pretty significant payday right there. So do it all for you guys. I don't mind. But yeah, guys, 15s down to the high 14s and maybe even lower than that. But that's where I project we settle down in UVXY tomorrow, following tomorrow's good news. I don't have a crystal ball, but I mean that's just my overall projection, and we will see what happens. Moving on over to IMPP, this is one that I've been talking about, religiously as well. And it's, like I said, very unfortunate that I did not hold in this massive upturn. It just didn't feel I just genuinely didn't feel comfortable with re-entering after I had exited in like the 65 cent range or something like that. I took that profit. It ran for the hills, but it was a little premeditated, and I do wish that I had held on a little bit longer because this stock has been seeing a ton of momentum to the upside. And I mean, the overall volume has been it's been absolutely insane. The overall float shares outstanding have been traded over like 2x, meaning like over 140, 150 million to 200 million shares have been traded, and the float is about 70 million. So it is on the smaller float side, meaning that there's less shares outstanding and it can gain traction quicker than opposed to a company that has 200 million shares outstanding. That's more towards the medium float, and then on, so on and so forth. But with oil pressure, guys, when I made this call in that 40 range, I wasn't making anything up. I wasn't like, oh, let's take a risk because I have a little fetish for oil penny plays. No, because this is a real opportunity. They had really good news regarding an acquisition of tankers, because they're a petroleum shipping company, which is massive. I mean, this is the time for this company to really be thriving. And as you guys can see, we zoom out a little bit. This is where I alerted in like, 2.5 weeks ago or something like that. Had that first jump, pulled back, consolidated here in the 50s, and then look at this. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So if you caught this alert, guys, you're making some good money here. And I obviously have my regrets, but if you make profit, that's really all that matters. And I'm not too disappointed at the end of the day. So if you're in this, guys, I also wanted to talk about today. There was a warrant offering. I didn't read into it too much, but upon the open, guys, we had a massive drop to the 58 cent range. It wasn't in open, it was a little bit pre-market. We had a move from this high 90s. I believe it was in the 90s in pre-market, and it dropped immediately to 58 cents was the low, if I'm not mistaken. And then upon open, it rallied back. Surprisingly, I honestly, okay, not necessarily surprisingly, because this company has been, I mean, on people's radars and on these big buyer radars. So obviously that dip was bought up and it was sent directly to the upside. Now, I said earlier, I will buy when it drops under 60 cents. If you follow me on StockTwits, you would have gotten that alert. Yeah, and I said, obviously, holy fuck, loading anything under 60 cents, because at that time it was 67, dropped down to 58 cents, and then rallied back. Now we're at the 80 cent level. I'm kicking myself because I literally said I was going to do that, and I didn't follow through with what I wanted to do. But if you're still holding IMPP, still very bullish, I still obviously believe that oil tensions are still present, which they clearly are, and we're not going to have any resolution until maybe I would say, maybe a month or so. So, obviously, still keep an eye on this. Oil volatility is still at an absolute maximum. Moving on over to IMTE, this I regret big time. This one absolutely destroyed me, and quite frankly, I am not going to stick around for the party. I did post on my stocks which that I did take a sizable loss on this one. And I also did talk about last week that, it's one of those low float plays, very minimal shares outstanding that I have been watching since January, February. I did not expect this to happen. As you guys can see, these massive candle wicks to the downside, pure insider and big buyer shorting. That's the only explanation for this because there was zero bad news. There was no bad news that was released, nothing. So we had that $13 peak and then absolutely just eviscerated the downside. So if you got in on any shorts here, which I don't understand, if anyone can enlighten me in the comment section down below. There was apparently a rule put in place in 2010 that if a stock goes down 10%, they restrict shorting the stock. But clearly that wasn't the case here. There was a ton of dark pool shorting, meaning off exchange shorting that doesn't pop up on level 2 that big buyers and hedge funds use, which I think is just absolute criminal. I think it's just bullshit. I really don't understand how that's even legal. But I mean, everything should just be out in the open and everything should just be transparent. But obviously there's a lot of sketchy stuff that goes on, and this is one of those situations. I started buying the low sixes, low fives, low fours, low threes, and next thing you know, I am bag holding. And I'm just gonna be plain and honest with you guys. And I got out with a it's a big uppercut to not necessarily my confidence, but just to like I had a full head of steam, and it really just kills me when I take risks on low floats like this, and I don't have the proper stop losses in place because I fall in love with it or something like that. It's just I have to be transparent with you guys. I'm not perfect. I mean, money can easily be lost in the market as easy as it's gained, and at the end of the day, what we have to do is just pick ourselves up from the ashes. And okay, that's a little dramatic, but it is no, it's not. This is because this is a very crazy game we are playing in the stock market, and I think at the end of the day, as long as you pick yourself up and learn from your mistakes, and my massive mistake here was not having my stop loss. I don't know what I was doing. I really don't. I continue to buy more as it continued to drop, and I didn't protect myself. And I don't really know, I preach it, but I'm not practicing it myself, and that's really silly, guys. So my one recommendation is always have stop losses, and whether it be 5, 10%, whatever you're comfortable with, have your freaking stop loss in place because this really destroyed me. And I'm not happy with how the price action. I'm not. I'm really not. I do think that this can go lower. I mean, whoever's holding, I mean, I do want to see a nice jump back to the upside, but who knows what's going to happen here? We're in that 240s range, and this company has released, I mean, pretty good news, if I'm not mistaken, regarding that halal. They're a 3D printing company, and I mean, they're expanding their business into different sectors and stuff like that. I don't know too much details into it, but it's not bad news. So this is just clear hedge fund, big buyer shorting, and it's disappointing. But at the end of the day, it can go up just as fast as it came down. I don't think back to these levels, but I do see $4 or $5 in the near horizon if you want to hold on to this and take that risk because honestly guys I don't have much analysis for you. I mean, volume has been weak and it's just been trading sideways, and I like I said, I took an uppercut on the chin and I have to move on. um, but if you're holding this longer swing, I do I do see the four coming back as long as volume stays up. But obviously we'll see what happens with this. That's really all I have for IMTE. And then last but not least, talking about a firm, one of my favorite finance companies, just because of how volatile this play is, and I love this buying range that it's at currently. I loaded up in the 1760s, 1770s, and in that general range, and I'm taking that into tomorrow. And I also picked up calls. I believe it was for 20. It was a $20 call strike price, and that's expiring in 2, 3, 4 weeks or something like that. Um, but I do see with positive inflation news that the Fed releases tomorrow and we see a rally back in the market, this will break through 20 easily, easily. It's all a matter of seeing the market head back to the upside, obviously, with positive news on how they're going to combat it. Um, it's just there's a lot of things up in the air right now, guys. But I'm willing to take this risk and bet towards the upside because at the end of the day, I have a motto, and that's buy the fear, and that's one that I want to exercise in this circumstance because I believe in this finance company, and I do believe that it's going to come back to the upside. So affirm. Price target $25 to $30 in the very near term. We will obviously see what unfolds. And just a quick recap: talked about the SPY. I do see this rallying back up over 380, head to 390 to the 400 range. Retest that in the coming days. As long as the news is good and as long as we see buying pressure back to the upside, that's really all that's going to determine that is volume pouring in to the upside. But obviously we'll see what happens. UVXY. Uh, I do see this settling down in the high 15s to low 15s to high 14s heading into tomorrow. As long as that news is positive, as quick as this staircase went up, we could see that quick descend right down another staircase. So we'll see what happens. IMPP long-term price target. It's gonna be well over $1. I do see this breaking over $1. So if you're holding, not a bad idea, but definitely protect yourself because this morning was absolutely crazy. Went straight to 58 cents. It just shows you how quick those things can happen. Talked about IMTE and an absolute massive move to the downside. If you're holding this, it could pay off, but I'm out. I'm all out of it, done and dusted. Moving on to the next, and obviously a firm we just talked about. Price target $25 to $30 in the short term. But yeah, down S&P Nasdaq still green after hours, but nothing as significant as the red it was today. I mean, what a bloody day it was, guys. I really hope you guys enjoy this content, and if you have any questions or anything you want me to dive into deeper, any plays, anything about my analysis, please do comment down below. And like I said, if you do enjoy the content, please like the video and subscribe to the video. Or please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the stock tweet, send me a follow there. Everything is free. I'm 100% free. I do this for you guys. I find a lot of enjoyment in it, and I do want to give you guys my 2 cents on where I believe the market's going ahead and potential plays in my mind. And I really obviously enjoy doing this, and for you guys. So without further ado, guys, we will see what unfolds tomorrow and get some good rest. I'll see you then. Peace.